Welcome. So today we are going to see how we can analyze an image using Azure Content Safety Services. Now in this, what we are going to do is we are going to upload an image and we'll see what kind of a content which is being analyzed by the Content Safety Service. Now essentially we are going to do achieve this in three steps. One is we'll first create a Azure Content Safety resource in the Azure portal. Then we'll create a .NET Core wrapper API wherein we'll upload the file or an image. Uh, uh, then the Azure Content Safety would analyze it and give us the result back, which would have categories and associated severity scores. And lastly, we'll analyze our API. We'll test out our API by providing it a real world image to see that how the Azure Content Safety responds to that image. So let's go to the Azure portal and create the resource. So once you land up in the Azure portal, we have to go to Azure AI Foundry. Here you can see more services. Once you click on the more services or expand more services, you will see content safety. Let's click on the content safety. Now in the interest of time, I already have one resource created for me, but you can create your own by clicking on the create button. Once you click on the create button, it will give you the standard options for filling out all these details and you can create your own resources. I'm not doing this step as it is pretty straightforward. So let's go and see the resource which I have created. So here is the resource which I have created. Again, it is providing us with a endpoint and the managed keys. These endpoints and the keys are required by our the wrapper API through which we'll be communicating with this service. So let's see our wrapper API. So here I have created a method and I have named it as get image content. It is HTTP post because we have a file as a parameter. The first check is pretty standard. All I'm checking is whether the file is uploaded or not. If not, then we are responding user with appropriate message. Then I am setting up the endpoint and the API key. Then I am instantiating content safety client with the help of endpoint and API key. Then I am creating a stream, and then from the stream I am converting the image into the binary data, and then in here I am calling the content safety API. So once you call the content safety API, it will give you a certain result which would be in a JSON format. I have created my own custom object, uh, and you can see here I am iterating through whatever is there in the result. Now when the content safety API analyzes your image, it provides you the data back in categories and severities. So usually there are four categories: hate, sexual violence and self-harm, and against these four categories there would be certain severity scores. So we'll see this when we'll be running our application. When we'll be testing it out, we would be able to see how exactly these values are processed. So once this is done, I'm just preparing the message for the end user, and if anything goes wrong in between this operation, we are just catching that in the exception block, just responding the user with the standard exception message. So let's go ahead and test out our application. So the purpose of testing, I'm using this image to upload to see how the content safety API categorize this. So as you can see, we can see that there is some sort of a self-harm in this image. Let's see what happens when we upload this image. Let me go to the postman. So as you can see here, this is the URL of my API, the one which I created as a wrapper API. It's HTTP post. Then in the body section form data, I have mentioned the parameter name is uploaded file because this was the same parameter which was provided in the in our wrapper API method, and this is the file which I'm uploading here. So once I click on send, I'll get a certain response. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, we have got 200 OK. That means our API hit was successful. So you can see it detects a sensitive content here, and it has returned us with a categories and their severity. So there are two things which we have got, category and severity. So as you can see, we have got four categories, and against those four categories we have severity. So for hate it is 0, that means it does not see anything as hateful. It does see it as harmful with severity as 6, uh, nothing, so an adult content sort of thing. And then violence, it is severity 2. So as you can see, for this image, how content API has provided us with this analyzed data, where it is clearly showing that it's a self-harm with severity of 6, and it is violence with severity of 2.